everyone. This is Charlotte Elia Dovechild, and I'm coming on today to talk about the Carnelian Ray of Freedom. So this is the third stage of our cyclical evolutionary path. We have had the maroon ray of sacred space, then we had the ruby ray of grace, and now we've moved into the carnelian ray of freedom. So we're going to talk about what this stage is all about. What does freedom mean in a spiritual sense, and why this is such an important stage of our journey. So when we talk about freedom in a spiritual sense, we actually are coming back to the truth of what time means. We are re-evaluating and we are realigning our relationship with time to a nature-based version of time versus a linear version of time. So one of the greatest lies that the patriarchal colonial culture has taught us is that time is linear, that it goes like this, that we are on a continually upward moving, forward moving path throughout our lives. And this lie prevents us from actually liberating ourselves from the past. Because the truth is that time, as earth beings, as children of Mother Nature and of Mother Earth, time is cyclical. Our bodies, our natures thrive and work within a cyclical basis of time. So if you think about it, some of these pieces are easy to see, right? How if you are a woman with a bleeding cycle, or if you have been, your body shifts and transitions every moon cycle, every 28 days. You release, you build, you release, you build. And we can see this in the season of the years too, right? How we feel different every season, going from winter to spring to summer to fall. Every season brings a different gift. And within that cyclical nature of time, there is birth, death, and rebirth. And in many ways, we move through that every year throughout the seasons. So when we base our lives on a linear version of time, we stay trapped without being able to be born, to die, and be reborn again through the seasons of our lives. Much of what we have experienced in the past, if what we had experienced carries with it emotional memories, and this includes not just our own past, but the past of our ancestors as well, because those emotional memories get passed on to us through their DNA into our DNA. These memories also thrive within a cyclical nature of time. So when we are disconnected from that cyclical nature of time within ourselves, within our bodies, we end up repeating the past because we are not conscious of it. So we are ruled by the past. We end up being imprisoned by the past. By making these cycles conscious, that allows us to have the awareness to choose to be free of it, to die to that cycle and be reborn within a new and different cycle. And so then the cyclical nature of time becomes not just a circle repeating itself, but it actually turns into a spiral. And so we do end up evolving and moving forward, but in a way where we are moving constantly forward and backwards, forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards. So the shadow archetype within this ray is the prisoner. And this is when we feel trapped within our current circumstances. And this is when we are blind to the emotional memories of the past, either our own past this lifetime or the past of our past lives and our ancestors. And so we bring forward within us the divine feminine archetype of the midwife. The midwife, we think of midwives, right, as those who help usher in new life. The midwife, however, in this context, through an evolutionary context, ushers us into this life, but also ushers us through spiritual/ego death, spiritual rebirth, and at the end of our human lives, into physical death. And so when we really reclaim the archetype of the midwife within us, we allow ourselves to live multiple human lives within, or multiple spiritual lives within one life. My dog is here to say hi. The final piece I wanted to talk about in this video is the divine masculine archetype of the warrior. So within this evolutionary context, we are radically defining what it means to be a warrior. This is the warrior of love. And the warrior of love doesn't necessarily even fight. The warrior gives us the courage and the strength and the conviction to stand within the truth. To stand within the truth, which allows us to liberate ourselves from the past and allows us to stand for the liberation of all. So this archetype, once we sort of become awake to how we might be imprisoned by the past, right, as we are reliving it, then we evoke the midwife to allow that process of death and rebirth which is our nature, to usher us out of that repetition. And then we evoke the warrior to really become awake to all of the illusions that have trapped us in a false sense of reality. And we begin to really reclaim the ways that we are the creators of our reality. Because the warrior knows that culture, society, upbringing, family, inheritance has created a false sense of reality within us. So everything we inherited, the warrior allows us to question it and allows us to question, is what I inherited and what I have been taught in alignment actually with my soul's evolution? And if it is not, it is actually a trap and it is a prison. And if it is not, then I get to take a stand for my liberation and release myself from that prison. I get to die to that part of myself and be reborn in my soul's expression. And then I get to be an emissary of this for everybody. Because if we look around at the culture at large, majority of people are asleep and are caught in a dream. And they are imprisoned in this dream. And so the warrior of love stands for the liberation of us all so that we can all wake up, reclaim that sense of freedom for ourselves to create our own realities, to create the realities that we desire to live in. And that's when we create a trajectory for ourselves of living as an evolutionary. So thank you for watching and stay tuned for more videos on this topic soon.